Welcome to our HTML basic course. Today, we will learn the basics of HTML, including tags, and attributes, lists, tables, links, and images. HTML is very important and powerful language. It breaks the boundaries, and lets you communicate to the entire world. Having the primary job of presenting data, HTML is very important for data sciences. To work with HTML, you must have an HTML editor installed. There are many types of HTML editors available. One of them is Notepad, which is already available in your Windows PC. However, Notepad will not help you out in your HTML coding. For that, Notepad++ can be used, which is a very popular application. I personally prefer Visual Studio Code, which is a free application, and it has a lot of features. So let's download this application, and install it on our PC. It is now downloading, and it will take some time to download, after which we will install this application on our computer. And the download has completed. Now we will start the installation setup. Here, we will accept the agreement, and then click on the Next button. Then we will enter the address where we want to install the application, and click Next. We will click on the Install button here. The installation is now complete. We will click the Finish button, after which the application will launch on its own. And this is the interface of Microsoft Visual Studio Code. Here, our first step will be to create a new file. Now, in this text file, we will create an HTML web page. A web page mainly consists of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But we will not discuss CSS and JavaScript today. Because this is a basic course, therefore we will only discuss HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Hypertext means that you can create different links, through which you can jump to other places within that page or website. And it is called markup language, because tags and attributes are used in this language to create elements. The first tag that we use is document type, which tells the system that it is an HTML document. Next, we open the HTML tag. And after opening this tag, we close this tag. Tags are created between these two signs. And when they are closed, this slash is also included. HTML tag is the main tag of an HTML document. All the HTML coding goes inside this tag, between its opening and closing. After defining the HTML tag, the first tag that we will define is the head tag. We will open the head tag, and then we will close the head tag. We use head tag for documents information, which includes documents title, its keywords, and meta tags. After the head tag, the tag we create is body tag. Like head tag, body tag is also opened, and then closed. Everything else, in the HTML document, is defined in the body tag. At this point, you should save your document in your computer. To do that, click on the Save As menu item. Now browse the location where you want to save your documents. And save your documents there. Let's save it by the name of home. Now you can go there and see the document that has been saved, which is right here. We can also open this document in a web browser. But since this is a blank HTML document, it will look like this. After this, the first element that we will add will be the title tag. We will open the title tag like this. And if you are using an HTML editor, it will automatically add a closing tag. Otherwise, you will have to enter the closing tag yourself. Suppose we are creating a website about Mount Everest, we will enter Mount Everest here. After this we will save the file. And then we will go to the browser and refresh this page. And here is the word Mount Everest. The information entered in the title tag always appears in the Browsers tab. To display the same title inside the page, we will use the heading tag. Heading tag starts with H, accompanied by numbers, each representing the level of heading. So the main heading is H1. We will copy this text in the heading 1 tag. We will save this document and refresh the web page. And here is our heading. After this, we normally use meta tags. Meta tags are used for search engine optimization, and they are not visible in the page. We create meta tags like this. It contains a name attribute and a content attribute. There are many types of meta tags. Each meta tag has a name and content. For example, let's create a description meta tag. And in the content, we enter a website about Mount Everest. If a search engine crawls this web page, they will come to know that this website is about Mount Everest. After this, the meta tag we use is of keywords, which describes what the page is all about, in comma-separated words. In the content attribute of keyword meta tag, we enter all words we feel are relevant to our web page or website. For example, the page is about Mount Everest, which is a mountain, and it is the tallest mountain. And just like this, we can add more words, which can describe what is being discussed on our website or web page. And now, let's move to the body. Before everything else, let's create a heading in the body as well. And we'll use H2 for that. So let's say, this page provides general information about Mount Everest. We can enter a heading, like, about Mount Everest. Let's save the document and refresh the page in the web browser. Here is our heading. After this, we can use the paragraph tag to enter more information. For example, let's enter some details about Mount Everest. Now, let's save this page and refresh the web page to see the information we have just entered. There are some tags that we use to format the text. For example, if we want to make this word Mount Everest bold, we will use the bold tag for this. Let's move the closing after the Mount Everest. Let's save the document and refresh the web page in the browser. Now the word is in bold text. Similarly, we can make words italic. And we can make words bold and italic at the same time. For example, if we use the italic tag inside the bold tag. Now, as you can see, this word is bold and italic at the same time. Similarly, we can underline text as well. Let's use the underline tag here and see what happens. As you can see, the word is now underlined. Now, we will discuss lists. There are three types of lists in HTML. One of them is definition list, in which there are headings and items. Then we have the ordered list, in which items are in a sequence. And finally, we have the unordered list, which is not in a sequence. First of all, we will discuss the definition list. The definition list is opened with the DL tag, and closed with a DL tag with slash. Inside the DL tag, there is a DT tag, which stands for title. And a DD tag, which stands for description. So these title and description tags are repeated throughout the list. Here we have some data in MS Excel file, which we want to present in a definition list. You can understand how time-consuming and difficult it is to type this data in HTML. Therefore, we will use a shortcut and create the list within the Excel file. First of all, in front of the country names, we will create the DT tags. And in front of the other items, we will create the DD tags. We will copy and paste these tags in front of each item. If we have a lot of data, we can also use formulas instead of copy-paste to make the job efficient. Now we will create an HTML list. So, we will start with the opening tag. And then this value. Combined with this value. Combined with the closing tag. All the way to the last item. Now we'll just copy this list from here. And in our HTML document, where definition list opening and closing tags are placed, we will paste the list inside those tags. After that, we will just save the document and refresh our web browser. Now you can see that the definition list has been created. The heading is missing on this list. Let's go back to our code. And right here, above the list, let's create a heading, using the h3 tag. Let's save the document. And get back to the browser, and refresh the page. So, here is our heading, and here is our list. After this, let's create another heading, using the h3 tag, which says, List of climbers by frequency. This list will start with the OL tag, because it is an ordered list. And within the list, each item will be inside the LI tag, which stands for list item. The data for this list is also available in the Excel file. So what we will do here is that we will create the list item tag. And we will combine that with the name of the climber. We will combine the climber name with parenthesis symbol. And within the parenthesis, we will enter the frequency of the climber. Then we will close the parenthesis. And then, we will close the list item tag with a slash. Now our first list item has been created. We will repeat this function with each list item. And then we will copy this from Excel. And we will paste it here, inside the ordered list tags. Let's save this document. And refresh our web page, in the web browser. To view our ordered list. This is the heading of our list. And this is all ordered list. You can see the numbering here, which is always in the ordered lists. Just like this, we can also create a list of deaths on Mount Everest. Just like before, we will start with the list item tag. Inside the list item tag, we will enter the name of the climber. And after that, inside the parentheses, we will enter the year of death of the climber. After that, we will close the parentheses, and the list item tag as well. Now we have our first list item tag. Let's drag this formula through the entire list. Now we have the full list which we will copy. And then, we will go back to our HTML code. Here, first of all, we will create a heading for our list, which says list of deaths. Then we will create an ordered list, using the OL tag. And inside those tags, we will paste the list. Now, let's save the document. And refresh the web page, in the web browser. And as you can see, we now have the list of deaths as well. Finally, let's talk about the unordered lists. So we have some records, in our Excel file, which we want to display, in an unordered list, on our HTML page. First of all, we will create a heading. Below the heading, we will create the unordered list tags. And within these tags, the list item tags will be used for each item. Now, we will go to our Excel file, and there, we will create our list items, just like before. Now we have our first list item. Let's repeat this formula before each item, to create full list. We will copy this list, from here. And in our HTML code, we will paste the list here, inside the unordered list tags. Let's save this document. And then, we'll go to our web browser, and refresh this web page. And here is our unordered list, and because this is an unordered list, there are no numbers in sequence. Now, let's talk about HTML tables. The table consists of columns, and rows. And just like an Excel sheet, it has cells, which contain information. To create a table, you simply use the table tag. Inside these table tags, tags for rows, columns, and headings, are used, which we will create in our Excel file. Here, first of all, we will create the opening tag, of table row. Then, we will create, the closing tag, of table row. Then, we will create the opening tag, of table description. Inside this tag, we will enter the content of first column. Then, we will close this tag back. We will drag this formula, for all the columns. Now, we have created the tags, for all the descriptions, in first row. We will combine these description tags, with the row tags, and keep the closing row tag at the end. Now we have the HTML code, of an entire row. We will apply this to entire table. We will copy the first row, and paste it, in front of headings as well. And then, we will replace the description tags, with the heading tags. Using Find and Replace feature. Enter TD here. And TH here. And press Replace All. Now we have headings in our first row. And descriptions in all other rows. And the structure of our HTML table has now been created. We'll copy this HTML code from here, and in our HTML document, where we have defined the table tags, we will paste it inside the tags. Now our table is ready. Let's create a heading for our table. The heading will be, the list of oldest climbers. And that's it. Let's save this document. And then go to the browser, and refresh this web page. And as you can see, our table has now been created. Now, let's talk about the hyperlinks, which are used to jump from one location to another location. There are two types of hyperlinks. Ones that are used to jump from one location to another location within the page. And the others, which are used to jump to a location outside the page. That can be a location inside the website, or anywhere on the internet. For example, we can create a hyperlink to jump to google.com. To navigate inside the page, first we will have to create some locations. We can create these locations using the anchor tag. In this tag, we use the name attribute. Here, we can enter a unique name to identify this location, like LOC here. And after this we closed this tag. We can use the same tag to identify another location. We will just change the name. Then, we will enter this tag to another location as well. And another location. And finally, to a last location. Now we have some locations where we can jump to. Here we will create a list, just like a table of content. And we will use this list to jump to various locations on this page. This list will also be made up of anchor tags. In the reference attribute, we will enter the name of the location. And we'll enter its title as well. We'll create other links in the same way. Let's save this document now. And let's go to our browser, and see how these hyperlinks are working. These are the hyperlinks that we have just created, and we will use for navigation. The first hyperlink is of this location. The second one takes us to list of first records. Third one jumps to the list of most records. Fourth one takes us to the list of climbers. And the last one belongs to the list of deaths. All hyperlinks are working perfectly. We can create another hyperlink. And using this hyperlink, we can easily jump back to the top of the document. To do that, we will create an anchor at this location. After that, in all locations, from where we want to jump back to the top, we will enter a hyperlink referring to this location. Let's save this document now. And go to the browser, and refresh our web page. Now we have back to top hyperlinks, which we can use to navigate back to the top. Whenever we click on the back to top hyperlinks, we end up at the top of the page, where we created the top anchor. Now, we will create an external hyperlink. Let's start a new paragraph here, using the paragraph tag. We'll enter the word source here. And here, we will create an anchor tag. And in the reference attribute, we'll enter the address of the Wikipedia page of the Mount Everest. Now we'll close the anchor tag. And here we will enter Wikipedia. Now we'll save this document. And then, we will go to the web browser, and refresh this web page. Now we have a link to an external web page, which opens up the Wikipedia page. However, the problem is that the Wikipedia page opens in this same window by closing our page. For that, we'll make some changes in the code here. Here, we will enter an attribute named target. And for value, we will enter blank. . Now, let's save this document, and go to the web browser, and refresh our web page. And click on this link. Now, this external page opens in a new window, without closing our own page. Finally, we have an image, which we want to display, on our web page. To do this, we will note down the name of the file. And because this file exists on the same location, where the web page is, the full address is not required. If this image had been placed on another location, then we would have needed the full address. Now, we will go to the HTML code. And around here, we will enter an image tag. In this image tag, we will use a source attribute. And in this source attribute, we will use the name of that image file. And this is it. Now we will save the file, go to our web browser, and refresh the web page. And here is the image. However, as you can see, this image is way too large. Let's now adjust the size of this image a little bit, using the style attribute. Let's adjust the width of the image. Let's set the width of the image to 100 pixels. Let's save this document, and refresh it in the web browser. Now the image is kind of small. Let's go back to the code, and set the width to 200 pixels. Now, the size is reasonable enough. And with that, today's tutorial comes to an end. Today, we covered almost all the basics of HTML, including lists, tables, hyperlinks, and images. Thanks for watching. We hope you liked our tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insightful tutorials and updates.